been a long road. Been searching up and down, trying to find true love. So I get on my knees and pray, look to the stars above.
Hi everybody, welcome back to my vlog. I am Lisa Kinoti. I am a singer and songwriter, originally from Nairobi, Kenya, but residing in the USA. And I like to say this all the time. I love both countries. I feel blessed to have been a part of both countries. Some of my American friends call me Lisa Kinoti. Some of my Kenyan friends call me Lisa Kinoti. It doesn't matter how you pronounce my name. I'm okay with either one. So this is my second entry on my vlog. My first entry was an intro. If you haven't checked that out to see what my vlog is all about, go back and watch the vlog intro. So I said we're gonna do music, we're gonna do cover songs, original songs, and we're gonna do self-help. So this is the self-help part of my vlog. Some of you might not be used to that, and some of you might feel differently about some of the topics that I talk about because it's not something you think about, it's not something that you're going through, it's not something that you're interested in. Feel free to move on to something else that you like. But today we're talking about depression. This is episode 1 of depression. So how to beat depression. Why did I pick the topic of depression to be the first topic that I talk about? Honestly, because I've been there. Because I have experienced depression in my life. And it is not a laughing matter. It's not a joking matter. You can laugh about it later once you feel better. But it is a serious matter. And society does not acknowledge people with depression. Sometimes parts of society, like in the US, may do that, but then you have other parts of the world that as you say, oh girl, you're just feeling sad, get over it, you'll be all right. So this is a topic that's really close to my heart, and it was really hard for me to decide to do this in a public forum like YouTube, like on a vlog, and especially to be my first vlog topic. This is really hard because this is something that I only talked to very, very, very close friends or very close people in my life about, because my experience was in the past when I did talk to just anybody about it, sometimes I would get hurt, and we're gonna get into why that would happen. There's gonna be several episodes before we completely exhaust this topic. Today is more of an introductory episode where we talk about what is depression, the taboos in society about depression, and hopefully this is going to educate the people who've never been depressed but have friends or family members that are, and it's also going to help the ones that are depressed a lot. Now, me personally, I have transcended beyond that, thank God, and I would hope to be a help to somebody that's going through this. I'm not saying that I don't have days when I feel down. I'm human. I do. And I'm not saying I don't have days when I worry that I'm going to be depressed. I do. I do. But that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about over several episodes. So this is a topic that affects you or somebody you love. Stick with me on this, because in the end, we're going to get to a solution for this. We're going to get to the light at the end of the tunnel. And let me say this. Disclaimer, I am not a psychologist, not yet. Still studying to become one so that you can actually listen to me, because some people won't listen to you unless you're a doctor, whatever, you know. But I am in the process, and so a lot of what I'm going to talk about is more experiential. It's stuff that I've experienced, and then some of it is things that I've learned from reading books, watching tons of videos, going to therapy myself. This is hard to admit in public, but yes, getting help from different professionals, and then some of it is also from school, from just so many different areas in my life. So this is gonna be a little hard for me, but I gotta do this. I gotta do this for me. Sometimes when you hide, you know, you actually do more harm than good to yourself. Sometimes secrets are not a very good thing, because you find out that there are people out there in life that are going through the same thing that you're going through, and they need to know that somebody else has been through this. So part of y'all getting to know me, some of you might be fans, you've listened to my music, is me being completely and totally honest with y'all, and hopefully y'all being completely and totally honest and open with me. And then the few trolls that come through here, hopefully they come through here, they write their little mean comments on there and they move on. We don't pay attention to them, but we're here for each other and we're here to help each other. Okay, so that's a long spiel I just went through. So I'm not a professional, but I will refer y'all to professionals when time, you know, when need be. But we're gonna go through this. We're gonna get through this, people. If you're watching this, look in your eye. If you're watching this and right now you're depressed, the reason you got to this video is because you are depressed and you're thinking about it and you were searching the internet. How can I beat this odd feeling, this hurt feeling that I have inside me? Maybe you've been laying in the bed, you can't get up, you can't go anywhere, you can't do anything, you don't find life fun anymore. I'm glad you found this video, because you're not alone, and this was meant to be. I'm putting this out there in the universe. This was meant to be, that you found this video, and I pray and hope that this is gonna be helpful to you. But I want you to know you're not alone. I've been there, and we can beat this. We can beat this, okay? So without further ado, let's go into the definition of depression. Now, you can go to Webster Dictionary, you can go to Oxford Dictionary, you can go to the internet, you can look, you know, different places. And I also like to do my research so I know what I'm talking about. I don't want nobody to sue me. I don't want no doctors coming up and saying that I said the wrong thing or whatever. So my definition of depression came from the Mayo Clinic. You know, if you're used to searching health information online, then you know what Mayo Clinic is. So if you go online, I actually encourage you to do your research further than what we're going to talk about. Today we're just going to do an introductory on what depression is. We're going to talk about how society views depression, how you feel about it, and how people around you feel about it. And then next time we come back, we're going to talk about the symptoms. We're going to talk about different ways to beat it, different things we can do. Okay, so what's the definition of depression? According to Mayo Clinic, I'm going to quote, depression is a mood disorder that causes a persistent feeling of sadness and loss of interest, also called major depressive disorder or clinical depression. It affects how you feel, think, and behave, and can lead to a variety of emotional and physical problems. Okay, so you may have trouble doing your normal day-to-day activity, and you might feel as if life is worthless, not worth living. More than just a bout of blues, depression is not a weakness. I want you guys to remember that. We're going to get back to that. Depression is not a weakness, and you cannot simply snap out of it, okay? People sometimes will tell you snap out of it. We're going to get to that. It's not that. Okay, depression may require long-term treatment, but do not be discouraged. Most people with depression feel better with medication, psychotherapy, or both. Now, unquote. Now let's talk about this for a minute. Now, I grew up in Nairobi, Kenya. Okay, Kenya is in Africa. For those of you who don't know this, and I'm not judging you for not knowing this. Now, Africa has a different set of rules. You know, Africa, we're not too far away from our traditions, our ancestors, and depression was a non-issue, you know, back in the day in Africa. So even today, you know, in Africa, even though we have developed a lot and have gotten closer to the Western culture, it's still very difficult to explain to parents, peers, grandparents, or whoever what depression is or how you're feeling. You might not even know that you're depressed. You know, you might just think, I'm just sad, I'm just going through something right now. Then we fast forward to America, where I live right now, and you have psychology, psychotherapy, psychiatrists, you have all this, you know, field of study that has actually made it known to society here in America, you know, what depression is. So, but even in America, you still find people that say, oh girl, you just feeling sad, whatever, you'll get over it. Okay. So let's put the two together. So you have a very traditional outlook of life where if you go to them and tell them that depression is an illness, they're going to say, no, it's not. Then you have this outlook over here, you know, of where you get medicated for everything. So if you say, doctor, I'm just feeling blue, they say, no, you're not, you're depressed. So none of those are right, is what I'm saying. And that's just my opinion. And that's why the next thing I'm going to go into is the types of depression that they're out there, you know, because you have people that seriously and sincerely need to be medicated. And then you have people that is just something you're going through at that moment, and we can find a way to kind of get you through that moment, and then you'll be feeling better. And so that is the other problem that I find, and that we find in different societies, is depression becomes a taboo. And people don't want to talk about it because people around you don't believe in it. And when you try to tell people, you know, it's an illness, they're like, you can't say it's an illness because, you know, diabetes is an illness. You got symptoms that you can see, but you cannot sit here and tell me that you're feeling blue today and that's an illness. You know, and I'm talking also from experience, things that things that I've experienced. And I know a lot of you watching this have experienced this. And so you carry a lot of shame. You blame yourself. You feel like something is wrong with you and you can't tell people because they won't believe you and they'll judge you for it. But let's go really quick into the types of depression that there are now that we talked about what the definition of depression is. There's a major depressive disorder, which is also called clinical depression. This is the big whammy. This is the one that you try everything and nothing works, so you end up actually having to go to a professional, and then you end up getting medicated. Now, let me say this. There are people out there, you know, mental illness is not a joke. Mental illness is real. It is out there. I don't care what part in the world you live in. I know you know people that are mentally ill. I know you know people that walk down the street talking to themselves. I know you've known people that have been locked up in a mental institution, even in Kenya, even in Iraq. I don't care where you live. That it's real, and they're not pretending. It is real. I want us to let's get this right now in our heads. You know, they're not making this up. It's real. Not to say that they're hopeless, that it can't be helped, not to say that they're weird, not to say that they're disabled in any kind of way, but to say that we need to stop discounting people and throwing people in a dungeon and forgetting about them because they have a mental illness and we don't understand what mental illness is. So we just decide that we're just going to put them away and laugh at them and say they're crazy and they're mad. Okay, so clinical depression is actually where it's more severe. There's a chemical imbalance in the brain. And like I said, I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to go into details on that. You can do your research on that by yourself and for yourself. But in these cases of depression, you feel depressed most of the days. And when I say feeling depressed, you feel sad, you feel hopeless, you feel like you can't do anything you like to do. Nothing in life is impressing you or is making you happy. Okay, and this starts to interfere with your life, and you can't go to work because you wake up in the morning and you feel like, I don't want to go to work today, and I can't even, move. And some people even start suffering from fibromyalgia, which is now it's a physical manifestation of what you're feeling. We'll get to that later. But then you feel like you have no energy and you just don't want to do anything. Then you have, but in that case of major or clinical depression, if I knew you personally, I would say get help. Go to a doctor. go to your normal doctor and say, this is what I'm feeling, and they'll refer you to a psychiatrist or psychologist or somebody who can help you with that. Now, I do realize that when I'm saying this, there's some people out there who are very religious, and you're looking at me and you're saying, how dare you refer people to go to a psychiatrist or psychologist? Because to a lot of religious people, a psychiatrist and psychology, that's a religion. To some people, psychology is a religion, but I'm here to tell you, psychology is not a religion. It's a study of human behavior. It's a totally different thing than that. And why would you stop somebody from seeking help any way that they can? I've never seen, well, I have. There are religions that stop you from going to a doctor if you're about to die from a physical ailment. But I'm going to say most Christians will tell you to go to a doctor if you have the flu, if you're dying of a cancer. So I don't understand why people want to judge people for trying to get help for something that you might not understand. They feel like something is wrong with them in their lives. They can't get the joy, deprive the joy out of their lives, and they want to go get help. It's okay. Get help. I'm telling you. It's better than sitting in your house by yourself trying to figure out what's wrong with yourself and not being able to help yourself. Because what's going to happen is, however you try to get help, even if you start off in the wrong place, you're going to eventually get help. You know, seek and you shall find. You're going to eventually find the right kind of help. So don't let anybody discount you for trying to get help, because the worst thing you can do is sit there and become more and more and more depressed. So first thing you want to do is you want to go to a professional, and they can help you determine what kind of depression you're going through. Okay, so let's move on so we don't take too long with this. So you have the major or clinical depression. Most of the time when you go to a doctor, they're gonna run a battery of tests. They're gonna ask you a lot of questions. They're gonna talk to you, and they're gonna try to figure out what is really going on with you. If it's something going on in your life that's causing you to be depressed, then maybe you need counseling, you know. But if this is something you've been going on through for years and years and years, and there's no real reason why you should be feeling blue or feeling sad all the time, then what's going to happen is then maybe it's a chemical imbalance, and maybe you need medication to help balance everything in you. Now, like I said, there's people out there who don't believe in this. I'm sorry, okay? But I'm just telling you, I do research before I come talk to y'all, and I've been through this myself. So I'm just telling y'all what I know. You don't have to agree with it. So let's move on. Bipolar disorder, that's another form of depression. Now this is where it's called bipolar. It's like you have a pole here, and you go boing, boing, you know, like you're swinging from, you know, side to side. 1 minute you manic, you're very like excited and your moods are elevated, and the next minute you're very depressed. Okay, so like I said before, if you're watching this and you don't believe in any of this, you don't believe in mental illness, you don't believe in depression, you don't believe in none of that, feel free to move on to another video. But right now I'm talking to people who are going through this. So that's another form where you need to get help. If you find that you don't have a medium, you have days when you just completely manic, and you go out with your friends and you drink, you're like an opposite of yourself every single time that you look, then you need to seek help, because you might be suffering from bipolar disorder. Now, let me say this. Let me just put this out there, okay? One thing that really, really irritates me and gets on my nerves is when people make fun of bipolar people. You know, in my places that I've worked, and friends that I've had before, and situations that I've been in before, where if somebody was just being a complete angry person, like they were always like evil and they're mean and all that, people automatically say, girl, she bipolar, you know, and then they laugh about it. And I'm like, first of all, do your homework. Bipolar doesn't necessarily mean that you're mean. You know, bipolar, do your homework, okay? If somebody is completely and totally a moron, they're mean to people and all that, quit saying that, because there might be somebody that's your friend that's been diagnosed with bipolar that is looking at you going, wow, so I really can't even tell her what I'm going through. And then they might be a really sweet person. Maybe their bipolar is different. Maybe, like I said, maybe she goes out and over excites herself with fun and then gets depressed the next day, but she never has a moment when she's mean to people. So people tend to use mental illness descriptions to talk about people they don't like and then laugh about it, and that's wrong. And I'm gonna tell you this: if you're going through any kind of mental illness and you have friends that do that, they're not your friends. You need to get better friends. You need to, we're gonna work on this: self-love, self-acceptance, and knowing that you deserve better, that you deserve people in your life that are gonna love you just the way you are and accept you just the way you are, and be there for you even as you seek help and as you seek to improve yourself. So then you have psychotic depression. This is people who lose track of reality and they become psychotic. They have hallucinations. They have delusions. You know, I've actually, had a friend who went through this, and it was sad because, she ended up losing her husband. She ended up losing everything she loved because people didn't understand her and thought that she was crazy, which is another word I hate. Crazy. We'll talk about that later. But when people say you're crazy and then they discount you, okay, we'll talk about that later. And one thing you gotta realize, most people are crazy. You're crazy in your own way. You might think you're perfect and you might laugh at people that have mental illness, but that's a crazy in itself. So anyway, so we have that psychotic depression. That's another one where, yes, you definitely have to seek help. You have to seek help if you're struggling with something that's beyond you, that is hard for you to deal with. Then we have a seasonal affective disorder. This is where you have winter blues, is what they call them. Like when the season changes, there's a lot of people go through this. I've been through this sometimes. Sometimes it's not something that you gotta be alarmed about. When there's no sun, people get depressed. They say that Alaska and Seattle, Washington, USA, are some of the places that have the highest rates of depression and suicide. And when you think about it, those places don't get a lot of sun. Seattle gets a lot of rain, and Alaska gets a lot of winter. So the sun, you can go ahead and do some research on this. I'm not going to go really deep into this, but sunlight is very important. They talk about vitamin D and how good it is for your skin, for your well-being, and for everything, but also on your mood. Sunlight is amazing for your mood. That's why people like to go to Barbados and Florida and all these different sunny places with beaches and stuff, and then they like to lay out and bask in the sun, because the sun has a really good effect on your mental being as well, your mental wellness. Do your research on that. But yeah, that's another form of depression that people go through. Then you have postpartum depression. Everybody knows about this. Actually, the funny thing is, you can tell somebody you're depressed, and if you're not pregnant, they're gonna laugh at you. But if you're pregnant, they're gonna say, oh girl, you need to go to the doctor. That's real. Everybody knows postpartum depression is real. This is when you've had a baby and you just dive into a depressive mood, and you can't take care of the baby, and the baby crying irritates you, and you just want to get away, and you can't understand why you got this beautiful baby you wanted all your life, and now you want to get away. But that's another form. Then you have substance-induced depression. This is where you're doing some certain drugs, or even prescription drugs that the doctors have prescribed to you, but also you have maybe alcohol or other drugs that you do for leisure or whatever that depress you rather than elevate you. That's common. We've seen that where people's behavior changes because of substances that they're taking. We're not going to go too deep into that. Then we have a situational depression, which is the one that I wanted to get to. Now, these are not all the types of depression that there are. There are many, 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 many different types of depression. You can go out there. You can do your research if you're really, really, really interested in this. But situational depression, also known as a stress response depression, is what I really, really wanted to get into. Now, this is where most people are. This is what some people call stress. This is where you have something going on in your life that's causing you to be depressed. Maybe there was a death in your family. Maybe you lost a friend. You lost a friend either to death, or you lost a friend, they dumped you, they stopped talking to you, or you had a boyfriend or girlfriend and they ghosting you, they don't want to talk to you anymore, or you're in a very committed relationship and they break up with you, or you're married and you're going through a divorce, or I'm trying to think of you've lost your job. I'm trying to think of all these situations. You had a long-term job that was doing very well and then you lose the job. Or something major happens in your life that you never expected would happen, that's negative, and then you just end up becoming depressed. And what happens is you get in the bed and you don't want to get out, and you say, look, life is beating me down. I lost this friend, I lost this spouse, this person doesn't want to talk to me, I thought this person loved me, why would they fire me? I'm a good employee. Or I can't get my money up, what's the point of working? And then you just, what happens with depression is it's an inner dialogue, and we're going to go into that a little later. This is an introductory episode. So you have this inner dialogue and your thoughts are just going and going and going, but they're negative thoughts. And so you're telling yourself, I'm hopeless, there's no hope, I'm useless, that's why they fired me, that's why my spouse left me, nobody loves me, I'm ugly, I'm not worth it, how can anybody see me, you know? And you just go through these scenarios, and the more you go through these negative scenarios, the deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper you get into the depression. And that's what we're calling a situational depression. So really there's nothing really explicitly wrong chemically with you, with your brain. You are capable of living a normal life, but you have something that slaps you and then you fall and it's hard to get up. So what we're going to be talking about in the episodes to come, what I want to concentrate on is situational depression, because I've already told you, I've already given you a solution. If you're going through some type of major depression, clinical depression, bipolar depression, psychotic depression, the depressions that you know that you need a professional help, then get professional help. I'm not a doctor. I'm not gonna sit up here and say I'm gonna tell you what to do. No, get professional help. So I've already mentioned those. Get professional help. But if you go into a situation of depression when you're telling me, I wasn't really depressed before until this happened or until that happened, we can talk about that. And that's where most, and let me tell you this, that's where most people are. You go online and you get on this, I used to get on these chat rooms, and they'll have you scared. They'll drive you crazy, because you go in these chat rooms and everybody is egging everybody on. Everybody thinks that they have clinical and major depression. So everybody's like, oh, I gotta go get medicine. I gotta go get medicine. I gotta go get, you don't have to get medicine all the time. Everybody's like, I gotta, the doctor gave me this, and then they gave me that, and then they gave me this, and doctors are good and they help. But sometimes we do get over-diagnosed for stuff. Sometimes maybe we're gonna talk through this. Sometimes maybe you just need a change in environment. Sometimes you need a change in the people around you. Sometimes you need a change in how you think. We're gonna talk about this, right? So this is what we're gonna talk about. If you need a doctor, we're gonna get you a doctor. But right now we're going to talk about, you haven't hit rock bottom yet. You know that you were okay before this happened, and now you've just been going through stuff and you don't know how to get out of it. And that's what I'm here for. And I don't claim to be perfect. I want y'all to always know that. I don't claim to be perfect. I don't claim to have it all together. I have my own challenges. I have my own days when I go through stuff. That's why I'm saying we're here for each other and we're here to help each other. So with situational depression, we're going to get into that on the next episode. We're going to get into pointers, things that we need to do to get over that. So yeah, I've had friends who, even here in the USA, who when I was going through my bouts, the things that I was going through, who didn't understand and would say stuff like, you need to snap out of it, or you're just going through something, maybe you just need to go see a pastor or somebody, or we just need to pray and we're gonna pray that stuff out, or we just, you're just overthinking, and stuff like that. And I would say to myself, if I could just snap out of it, don't you think I would want to snap out of it? Don't you think that I would like to not be depressed anymore? Don't you think that I would like to be happy like everybody else? Which is an illusion. Everybody thinks everybody else is happy, but whatever. We'll talk about that later. Illusions. But so this is what I'm saying is depression has become a taboo in a lot of society, where people who are going through depression, especially in many parts of the world other than the USA, cannot step forward and say, I'm going through this thing that I cannot handle on my own, and I don't know what to do, because they would be laughed at, they would be pushed to the side, or they would be put in a mental asylum and told that they're not coming out until they're normal, and so there's a lot of fear and taboo surrounding depression. There's also a lot of, you need, as a man thinketh, so is he. You hear people tell you that. I've had friends tell me that. As a man thinketh, so is he. Now, let me tell you this. Don't be mad at your friends. They mean well. They mean well. And we're going to go later into what to say to a friend that says they're depressed, or what to do when a friend says they're depressed, or a loved one. But what I'm talking to right now is somebody that's going through this. And when people quote Bible verses, or the law of attraction to you, or they tell you as you think it, so are you, and you need to snap out of it and all that stuff, and then you feel like your depression is a taboo, and so you decide, I'm not going to talk about it, I'm going to go through this on my own. So you go off and you suffer on your own. You go through this on your own because you feel like you're on your own. You feel like nobody understands what you're going through. I'm hoping that as we have this conversation through the different episodes, I can get you to a point where you don't have to have validation from people about how you feel, and that doesn't make you feel worse that people don't understand how you feel. But that's the advanced level. Right now we're working on what you're feeling right now, and people around you don't understand you, and so people tend to carry a lot of shame. People who suffer with mental illnesses and depression tend to carry a lot of shame around, and that makes it worse. It's a vicious cycle, because you go through shame and then you feel like you can't tell people what you're going through, so you don't get help, and you hide out in the room by yourself under the covers, and that doesn't help you, and it doesn't help you to recover in any way from what you're going through. So yes, there's a lot of misconceptions. There are a lot of misconceptions about depression in different societies, and it has become a taboo in different parts of the world. But I'm here to tell you that nothing is wrong with you. You can beat this, you can overcome this, and you can have a life where you're happy and you are enjoying it. It's exhilarating and you're alive again. Okay? And we're gonna help you do this. So what I want to talk about lastly is how to talk to people about your depression. This is a tough one, people. This is a really tough one, because this is a lesson that I had to learn when I was going through that. You can talk to everybody about your depression. In fact, you can talk to everybody about your personal life. Okay? You cannot talk to everybody about what's going on in your life. It's not for everybody to talk about, because some people won't understand, some people don't want to understand, and some people are going to go as far as to make you feel 10 times worse than you already felt. Okay, so you've got to be very careful who you let into your circle, who you let into your heart, who you let into your secrets, who you let into knowing what's going on with you. You have to be very discriminative of that. Now, don't be huddled up in the corner and you don't want to talk to anybody or reach out to anybody. And that's why I say that's what professionals out there for. Professionals are taught to listen to you without judgment. If you go to a therapist, they're going to listen to you without judgment. And they are they're trained on how to react, how to help you. So if you don't have anyone around you that you trust, you don't have any friends that you trust, you don't have any family members that you trust, I implore you, I ask you, I beg you to go to a professional. Don't just deal with it by yourself. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. Other than that, if you have a friend that you trust, you gotta be very careful though, how you approach it. If you both already are very honest with each other, then you can be very honest and you can say, please, I don't want you to judge me. I just want you to listen because I'm going through this and I just need somebody to talk to. If you have parents who are very understanding, talk to your parents. If you have a boyfriend or girlfriend or spouse who you believe is very understanding, talk to them. But like I said, I don't want you to ever feel like you're alone. If you really feel like you cannot trust people around you, please seek professional help. Now, you're free to comment on the bottom because I know that people will have questions about that. Somebody might say, hey, I'm a teenager. My parents don't understand. I have no freedom to go see a doctor or see somebody who can help me. What do I do? Then I say fight for your life. Talk to your parents. Tell your parents you don't feel good that day and you want to go see a doctor, and then go talk to the doctor. Just don't give up is what I'm saying. Do not give up ever on yourself. That is not an option. Giving up on yourself is not an option. I want you all to always understand this. Even when you feel like the whole world is against you, even when you feel that nobody understands you, giving up is not an option. You never, ever give up on yourself. Okay? You have to promise me that. Don't give up on yourself. You have to fight for your life. You were put here on this earth for a reason. You're here for a reason. When I was going through depression, I could tell you a little bit about myself. It's really hard to share this publicly, but I did have a period in my life when I was going through it. And I didn't feel like I was of any use to this world. I didn't feel like I feel like I was useless, hopeless, But I was wrong. I was wrong. And this here is proof, because now I'm sitting here and I'm talking to you. And you might be all the way in Istanbul, laying on your bed, watching YouTube, and this is helping you. But what if I had given up? What if I had given up? And that's what I want to say to y'all. Do not give up and come back, because I'm going to have a follow-up video and we're going to talk about the pointers, the things that helped me through this. Hopefully we can help each other. So that's it. If I left anything out, there's more videos coming on this topic. This is not the end. Leave a comment on the bottom. If you liked this, click on like. If you didn't like it, click on dislike. Like I always say, I welcome haters too. No problem. Love y'all too. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, subscribe. And once you subscribe, click on the bell right next to it so that every time I post something, YouTube lets you know that I posted something, and you can come back and follow up on this topic. I am going to try to post every week, if not more than that. So very, very soon, episode 2 is coming, where we can start to look at the different pointers and solutions. So what I wanted you to get from this video is, do not be ashamed of being depressed, and do not give up, and seek help. Number 1, write this down. Number 1, do not be ashamed for being depressed. Nothing is wrong with you. Number 2, seek help. Seek help. Tell a friend that you trust. Tell a parent. Tell the doctor. If you are in a position where you can go seek real professional help, go to a therapist, go to the pastor, go to somebody. Whoever you trust, whatever your religious beliefs are, Go to somebody that can counsel you, that you trust. Me personally, I would rather go to a professional that has studied this very intensely and they know how to help you, and that's a therapist or someone like that. But go to somebody and seek help. Do not give up. Number 3, do not give up. Whatever you do, never give up on yourself. Love yourself. Love yourself. That's number 1. This is what we're going to be talking about every single time. Find ways to love yourself. Don't ever give up on yourself. You are worth more than you think you are. Okay? Thank y'all for watching. I hope this was helpful. Hang out with me. I'm going to have music coming out, music videos, original music. I'm going to have music covers that I'm going to do of other artists. And then we're going to do some more self-help because I'm a self-help junkie. So if you're feeling depressed tonight, I want you to know that I'm here. We're here. Don't feel alone. And think positive thoughts. And come back. We're going to work some more on this.